went down, 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 and the flames getting higher, and it burns, burns, burns. Watching Ghost Rider, watching Ghost Rider. Yes, folks, it does burn. We've got Nicolas Cage back as the Ghost Rider in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, the kind of sequel to the original Ghost Rider, which really wasn't that good to begin with, but we kind of went in there hoping that they had improved, learned from their mistakes, and brought us a better picture. This time around, we have Ghost Rider trying to hide out, staying away from humanity, because every time around he gets around anybody who has even a hint of evil, old Ghost Rider wants to come out and suck their soul. Well, he gets tasked by some monk. I think he's a monk. Anyway, he's a religious figure, a gentleman who is devoted to protecting this boy. Okay, this boy apparently is very important. Okay, but the devil wants him. Okay, so they need to protect the boy from the devil till this specific day passes that was in the prophecy, and then everything will be hunky-dory. And if the Ghost Rider can go get this boy, save him, and bring him to the monks who will protect him, they will lift his curse, and Johnny Blaze will no longer be Ghost Rider, which he was looking forward to. Okay, and that's the motivation of the story. I'm not going to tell too much more because, well, there's really not too much more to this film, folks. Eye candy everywhere. There's a lot of special effects going on in this, especially when your main character is a flaming skull head with chains that basically disintegrate guys, okay? But they had a script that just was awful. It was just bad. I mean, let's not just figure out the logic holes in it. Let's just talk about a basic story, a decently compiled story. Now, you're not looking for depth in a film like this, but you're looking for at least some consistency, which you do not have in this film. For dialogue was awful. I mean, who wrote up this dialogue? It was predictable dialogue. It was cheesy dialogue, more cheesy than you may expect from a film like this, and just in general, bad, really awful dialogue. You're like, ow, my ears, right? And then just the way the story plays out, you're like, okay, I can predict what's going to happen. I can predict this entire film. Okay, what I didn't predict, though, was I didn't look at the cast list ahead of time. There is a small cameo by Christopher Lambert in it. Okay, and Christopher Lambert, I could listen to him read the instructions off of a ketchup bottle. So they had him in there, and I'm like, oh, all right, they've got Christopher Lambert in here. This movie's kind of picking up a bit. And then they've got a scene, and it's not really a spoiler, but they've basically got a scene where his character is drawing a sword, holding it up, and the guy, a good friend of mine, Ray Sidman, who does the Ray's reviews, which I've plugged before, we both chuckled at the same time, because all we could think of is, there can be only one. I mean, it was that bad because of the scene, and what he had to do was very similar to something from Highlander. So we were just waiting for that line, which they didn't throw in, thankfully or unthankfully. Ghost Rider, it's no better than the first one. In fact, I think in a number of ways it was a little worse. You've got the directors in there, Mark Neveldine and Brian Taylor, guys behind Crank 2, Gamer. So the direction style shouldn't have surprised me, but man, they couldn't keep the camera still for a second. I mean, woo, woo. I mean, it was shaky, and you got these really weird views going on where you change perspective, and you'd think maybe it was the Ghost Rider's perspective, but it wasn't the Ghost Rider's perspective. So you're like, whose vision are we seeing? You know, Spidey sense or whatnot. It seemed really tossed together, and for the amount of money that they spent on this film, I think we were talking about $250 million, you think you could have came out with a better product than this. Folks, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, one stub. One stub, mostly for the Christopher Lambert cameo in it, and some of the special effects and fight scenes were cool, but in general, not a good movie, and not worth the price of admission of either 3D or 2D or 1D. Okay, just maybe rental when it comes out, and that is pushing it. And that'll about do it for us here at the Final Cut. Till next time, keep that ticket stub.